both sides of the conversation family. We welcome you to this virtual space crafted especially for you. My name is Jada Curry, and I'm both sides of the conversation's marketing director and graphics design specialist. I want to take some time to ground us all as a community into this space we are about to open up in, so let's go through our community standards. Both sides of the conversation is providing a safe and honest space for open conversation, so we ask that you all be respectful of that. We also ask that you be respectful of each panelist, host, and participant. We do encourage healthy debates and conversations. Don't personalize anything with anyone. This includes name-calling, bullying, trolling, or shaming. This will not be allowed or tolerated. Your perspective is yours. It is not a prescription. You do not have to agree, but show respect. These community standards apply to all of our live shows and any virtual spaces that we hold on social media, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We want to make sure that we are caring for each other as a community. This is our priority in all of our endeavors as both sides of the conversation. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's show and continue to stay in touch with us via YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or all of them. All right, thank you for listening and see you soon.
Welcome, everybody, to Both Sides of the Conversation. I'm John Henry, Executive Director. Today is Thursday, so you know what that means. There's another Educational Thursday presentation that's going to happen tonight. We're going to get the information to the community. We have a phenomenal guest today. Ms. Cameo Turner is going to come on and teach the community about yoga and Ganja. It's going to be very powerful. So looking forward to tonight's Educational Thursday. But before we get started, you know, every show we have a bunch of announcements. Today, everybody should be happy around the country. Today is the Juneteenth holiday. It has been signed into law by President Biden at noon today. Now Juneteenth will be the 12th legal public holiday, and it's named the Juneteenth National Independence Day. So congratulations. It's been a long time coming, but here we are. It is now being recognized as a national holiday. I know it was put on the news that some federal workers and some workers will be getting the day off tomorrow, and then most people will be getting it next year because it just got signed into law. But either way it goes, it's a powerful statement being made today. Is it enough? It's not enough, but it's enough to get us started, especially on this weekend as we go out and start to celebrate. So I think that was very phenomenal today. Want to give a big shout out to our sister Felicia Jones with Wealth and Disparities and part of the Mega Black family and the Mega Black Watchdog group. We had a phenomenal turnout today. We should have had more, but it was a phenomenal turnout. We had the kickoff today at City Hall for the Juneteenth rally. Very powerful conversation out there today, but it was also a little disheartening just to continue to hear a lot of disparities that impact the Black and brown community, especially the Black community. There's a lot of work ahead. These issues of equity and different things are still impacting our communities, but just want to give a huge shout out to our sister Felicia Jones. The mayor showed up, Shaman showed up, the president of the board of supervisor, a number of elected officials was out there today. The DA was out there. Just good to see people out supporting a lot of different people that was out there. So just phenomenal to see all the people come together in community. With that being said, I want to give a huge shout out to Black to the Future. Crystal was out there supporting Black to the Future. We had Marianne Jones from Westside Community Services out there. We had people from Cold Tenderloin. We had Collective Impact out there. We had representatives from YCD, 100% College Prep, SF Rebels. There was a number of community organization that was out. Shout out to the Brown Bombers. My brother Brandon Ross was out there. My brother EJ. It was a lot of people out there today. Way to step up. My brother Adante Pointer from Oakland, a lawyer, he came out. Just happy to see community engaged. Sister April Salas was out there. Number of community. It was hot today, but people did show up, and it was great just to see everybody come out and just step up and do the things that they do. Very important stuff. With that being said, everybody stay cool out there. It is a heat wave here in the Bay Area. We had places part of the Bay Area today that was 110 degrees. So please check on your loved ones, check on the elders and the seniors out there, check on our young people. Make sure they staying hydrated. Get the water. Be safe out there. There are rolling blackouts that are impacting the Bay Area right now because of the extreme temperatures. So again, tonight, if we have something crazy happen, just know that there's rolling blackouts happening out all throughout the Bay Area and California as this heat wave is coming through. So please be mindful of that. Also with this heat wave, just also know, be mindful of the water usage. As everyone know, the California drought is real. When we have these hot extreme days like this, the water is getting dried up. And we just got to be smart and conserve water and make sure that we look out for our elders and the community, because having that water is very important to them for some of the things. So please, community, be mindful. Let's work together in solidarity and make sure that we conserve water, conserve energy. We have elders in the community that have medication and things of that nature. And we want to make sure that all of that stuff is still going so they don't have to roll out the power. So just be mindful of that as we continue. California is back open. But again, there are still COVID cases happening. Be safe. I know a lot of people are with their masks off, people that's been vaccinated. Still do the proper social distancing and make sure that you're doing your part to continue support the health measures as they roll out in the community. With that being said, Juneteenth is here. Father Day is here. Want to give a huge shout out to all our fathers as we approach this Father Day weekend. I hope all the fellas out there get treated well, get some time to themselves, enjoy their kids and family. It's going to be a great weekend, as well as Juneteenth as it kicks off. Just want to give community announcements. The Juneteenth celebration at the waterfront in San Francisco, that's sponsored by Mega Black, is this Saturday at 8 to 2 p.m. We'll be out there. Also, the Fillmore Juneteenth will be happening. We'll be out there. We'll be moving around throughout the communities. There's a big Juneteenth celebration going on in Oakland at Mosswood Park. We'll be out there, and we'll try to get around the lake as well as we end that Saturday. Very important Juneteenth. There are Juneteenth events going all across the Bay Area and across this country. But we're going to try to get to a few of them and get out there and support the community. So you guys will see us this Friday night. Tomorrow night at 5:30. There's a big groundbreaking ceremony for Juneteenth. Some things that's going on at Golden Gate Park. I'll get that information out. We're still trying to find out, is it a public event or is it private? But we'll be moving around. So there's a lot of things happening. Hope everybody gets to get out, celebrate, enjoy their time with community. Be safe, be respectful out there. I know a lot of people are going to be drinking, having fun. Please be safe out there. Let's have a peaceful weekend. This is our time to celebrate, not be crazy and out there doing things that's going to negatively impact our community. With that being said, even today, we had that negative energy coming in. Every time it seems like we want to celebrate and uplift, things happen. We had some people that was at the rally today just acting up, and that's just how it goes. Every time we kind of come together in solidarity and uplift our Black people and brown people, there's always some people who trying to take the highlights and the shines off of us. And then everybody be careful out there. I just got a ticket today. I left the event and I had to get on the freeway and got a ticket today. And I had to look at, I didn't even go there with the officer. I just looked at him and said, whatever, it's Juneteenth. What a way. It seems like he was profiling me, but I'm not going to argue. It ain't nothing but a few dollars and we just take care of it. I'm just happy to be safe and alive and then have to deal with that. But this weekend, please be careful, community, while we out there. The highway patrols are increasing their presence out there. As people are going to be celebrating, just be careful and be safe out there as we go through this weekend adventure for Father's Day and for Juneteenth. So with that being said, want to go ahead and just make one two announcements real quick. Both sides of the conversation, we are still looking volunteers to help out for different positions and different tasks. If you want to join our team and come be a part of this community impact that we're having going on, please reach out to us at info@bsotc.org, or you could go to Both Sides of the Conversation website and put your information in, submit your resume. We are definitely looking for support as we continue to try to build capacity and uplift this platform to go wider reach and really impact our community. With that being said, before we jump into tonight's presentation, just want to read our disclaimer because tonight our guest is talking about cannabis and yoga. So I just want to make sure that community hears it from me. I know it was on a PowerPoint slide, but just want to make sure everybody is aware. The information presented by our panelists of today's show does not reflect the opinions and the perspectives of both sides of the conversation. Both sides of the conversation do not promote, condone, or advocate illicit drug use or illegal activities. The information in today's show is intended for adults 21 years or older. Both sides of the conversation cannot be held for responsible for materials on the website, pages, or page. We provide leaks and promote or condone the illicit use of drug or illegal activities. Today's discussion on this show on the legal uses of marijuana and cannabis and these products is only relevant in the state of California or other states where cannabis is legalized. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and introduce everybody to tonight's guest, and we're going to kick off tonight's educational Thursday. Tonight's guest, her name is Cameo Turner. She is the first certified Black Ganja yoga teacher in the Bay Area, specialized in yoga art expressions and theme classes, teaching and promoting pure smoke and whole plant medicine, bringing yoga back to our people. With that being said, welcome Cameo to tonight's educational presentation, sister.
Welcome. Thank you for having me on, and happy Father's Day.
Thank you very much.
I'm ready to present with you. Let's do this. You know, I know a lot of people don't know yoga as a great giant stigma around it, that we aren't necessarily there. But we are, and we are present, and it's important to see our places in yoga, in our yoga classes, teachers, but it's also important to know the history of it, the history of yoga and how it comes from our people and how our people used, cannabis as well. So we'll get all into that in the presentation when you guys are ready.
All right, we're going to pull up the presentation right. All right, there you go.
So we're talking about Ganja yoga for the culture. Yes, my name is Cameo Turner, but I go by Lady Nama Sizzle in the yoga world. Cameo now feels like my government name, We all have our nicknames. But Lady Nama Sizzle here to give you guys the gems on Ganja yoga and how it is specifically for our culture. Next slide, please. So before we go into who I am and what is more about me, we're going to dig into a little Black history, because I am, as you are, Black history. So the first thing I want you guys to know is that yoga came from Africa. That is the biggest thing. There is sometimes some debate about it, but if you go to the temple walls, if you see any photos from the temple walls, you see poses and you don't even know it. This Sphinx pose. This is in so many different yoga strands, I'll call them strains, since we're talking about weed too. It comes together. So the biggest thing from that is it was called Kemet first. It wasn't even Africa, it was Kemet. There was upper and lower Kemet. So there are a few lineages that are still left in that as Kemetic yoga and Swami Thai yoga. They are often hard to find. But more of the Black yoga studios teach them. Black Tea Yoga, I was a fellowship through them. They have a class, and so does Yoga Love. And they are located in Oakland. But before it was modern day Egypt, and it was Kemet. Kemet means Black land. So that's the key about it, is that it's Black land, and now we see all these temples and the wall writings that have these yoga poses on it, wheel pose and a variety of different poses. So it's important for us to make that connection and to know about that connection. Now here's a little more deepness for you. So the Greeks called Egypt, they named Egypt the land of burnt faces. So Kemet means black land, but Greek, it means black faces. So then we go into colonization of different areas and what that means to us as Black history and as well as yoga history. Now, we're going to go into the weed history next. Next slide, please. So with the weed history, and not just weed history, but whole plant medicine, okay? So with the plant medicine, I want you guys to specifically take away 4 things. The oldest medical text talks about remedy for inflammation is cannabis. So that's important for us to know that we have been using plant medicine back in the day. But here's an extra little gem for you, is that the slaves used to grow marijuana and they used to use it too. So we have been doing this. We're dealing with prohibition that made weed illegal, okay? Now, the farming of weed didn't begin in Egypt until about 1,000 years ago, and it came from China. So when we got it from China or Asia in that area, when we got it from them, we chewed it first. We didn't smoke it. That's how they figured out to even smoke it. We actually chewed it. And it was even used as a suppository for pain. So we've been using cannabis in many different aspects. We just didn't know how or why we were specifically using it, okay? There are many religious values placed upon cannabis in many different areas of Asia, Africa, modern day Kemet, which is Egypt, and so many different variations. So it's important for us to respect those tribes and respect the plant medicine as it is, knowing the historical value of it. Mummies were wrapped in hemp. We've been using hemp for many different varieties. Like I say, it's the connection that we have that has been ripped away from us, dealing with the Black history and the stigma on the drug itself. So cannabis, for most people, cannabis promotes peace. So, they even talk about how studies say that since legalizing cannabis in certain areas or allowing it in certain states, the rate of suicides have gone down. And that's very important to recognize the plant as a medicine and not just as a tool. And that's the key. Next slide, please. So getting into that, because I am Black history, this is who I am. Next slide, please. So like I said, my name is Cameo, but I go by Lady Namastizzle. I'm a registered yoga teacher, and I am the first Black certified Ganja yoga teacher in the Bay Area, which is to me a huge deal because we all smoke. I know a lot of people out there who have hid it for so long because of this stigma. The elderly don't want to try what the can help do for them because of the stigma. So the mission and my mission is to be a trailblazing yogi, to be an advocate and be the representation of weed wellness in the yoga world as our color, Black and brown brothers and sisters, offering this inclusive space and letting us know that this is the original FUBU. This is for us, by us. Things have just been ripped away from us and twisted and taken into another context. So you will hear people talk about how yoga came from me. Yoga came from, Asia and different Indian cultures and everything, but we all came from these specific areas because we had travelers. Our ancestors were travelers, and we were traders. So we traded different plants, different medicines, medicinal purposes, herbs, many different things. So I believe that yoga was one thing that we also traded. So the biggest goal for me in creating this all-inclusive space is for us to be able to heal from these systematic traumas brought on by this generational trauma of the abuse of the system. As I said, we've been using cannabis for many years, different Asia, India, Africa, the slaves. So the historical value has been ripped away. And that's important to bring that back. Next slide, please. So the wellness of weed, we're going to talk about plant medicine as a whole. So just a few little drops that I'm sure most people know. The benefits of cannabis: they reduce inflammation. As we talked about, the Iberus papyrus talks about the reduction of inflammation and how they used it from the beginning. It helps to fight depression and helps alleviate anxiety. I am a prime example of what they do to you when they don't know what to do, and they fill you up with all these different medications, and you have different reactions and these different responses. And our body is not made to break that down. We have an endocannabinoid system that can break all of these elements down with ease. And we don't have to worry about the waste from it because we are made to break them down. It aids with sleep, pain management, PTSD. My veterans, this is something that specifically, even if you just use CBD, CBD is a wonderful value for this. Please don't let the stigma help you get hooked on narcotics and heavy drugs when you can still fully function under CBD. It helps prevent nausea. That's something that a lot of people deal with. You didn't eat soon enough. You forgot to eat. Now you feel sick. You got a headache. CBD. Like, I promote CBD with anything and everything. And as a multivitamin, that's just what we do. It promotes, again, promoting the peace. You don't want to fight when you smoke. You want to fight when you drink. But you don't want to fight when you smoke. You just want to chill and enjoy. Next slide, please. The consumption of the medicine, using this as a plant whole medicine. So we're talking here smoking it. We're smoking joints, we're smoking pipes, we're smoking vapes, and we're smoking blunts. Now we'll get into the whole blunt aspect of it in just a moment, but the joints, use hemp papers. Get rid of all this junk that we're smoking. Use these pipes. Back in the day, during the slave age, giving y'all another gem right now, we smoke out of water pipes. That's how they used to smoke back in the day during the slave, when they would be beat and abused. They use this as a pain management. Water bongs from the little streams in their water. That's how they smoked, which is very important. But historically, we don't know that, because we think that that's something we're supposed to have, and we are supposed to have it, because as I said before, your body can break this down. Tinctures are great under the tongue, whether it be CBD, straight THC. The best tincture that I've ever had came from Hot Spring in San Francisco, 500 milligram CBD, full. Reese did her thing with that. One of my favorite strains right now, just as little gems about me, is that High Purpose Chocolatina. Shout out to High Purpose. Also talking about topicals. Topicals are really great. Using the bath bombs. All topicals are not made the same. All tinctures are not made the same. So it is important that anything, and I do mean anything, that you decide to put in your body, you do the research. You must do the research. Your body is a temple. So you have to make sure that that is what is good for you. Any strain that I get, I Google it. I do my research. I don't care if I'm in line at the club. Oh, I want this one. Let me Google it and let me see what it's all about. And it's important to know what you're using inside your body. Now, they have these new things, pills and, things like that. I'll be honest, I grew up in the 80s. So I kind of stay away from pills and things like that, because it's just that mental association. That's that systematic trauma coming back. But whatever way you consume, make sure you know what you're consuming. Make sure you know the milligrams. Make sure you understand your dosage. And edibles are great. People love edibles, but I do not recommend edibles when you are doing yoga. Just as a disclaimer, it takes a few minutes for them to kick in, typically 2 hours, up to 2 hours. So you're not sure when your high is going to hit. And when you're doing yoga and you're dealing with your breath work and you're calming your body and relaxing your nerves and everything, that's not a great thing to not know when it's going to kick in, and you get a downward dog and you go down. So that's very important. So the next thing that I wanted to make sure that I made sure to talk about these blunts. going to take my glasses off so you all can see me. Put that stuff down. These blunts, these backwoods, these Swisher Sweets, they are not good for us. They're full of chemicals. They're full of glue. This is junk. Go back to, once again, what our ancestors were smoking. Banana leaves, palm leaves. If you look on my website, I have a link for Cali Green Gold. They have palm leaves. They have rose petals. I'm a big advocate for rose petal cones. If you ever interact with me, you know I typically have rose petal cones with me, or I have my 100% hemp papers. Rice papers are great. Fruit bowls. Apparently, you can make bongs and bowls out of watermelon and apples. I've seen it done. So it's important to use a natural element in them. And there's something you will notice when you use these natural elements is that you'll get the high will increase. Your high increases because you're taking in the plant and not the chemical. So now you're learning your balance. You're learning your area. And that's the biggest thing, is knowing your body, because you can smoke just something that somebody else smokes and not have the same effect. It's not just about THC. It's about THCA. It's about CBD. It's about CBN. It's about THC terpenes to be beneficial to what's in your body. This is whole plant medicine. Now, I didn't even discuss THC. So we're taking this aspect because we know THC, everything. Now we got Delta 8. We're learning about the high, but we need to learn about the medical benefits about it. I am a medical patient as well as a recreational user. So understand that I know both sides of the aspect. Next slide, please. So now we're on Ganja yoga. So how do the two go together? So from the founder and creator of Ganja yoga, she says yoga and cannabis offer a ridiculous amount of health benefits. Even for people who aren't drawn to the spiritual aspects, for those who do wish to go beyond, the implications, the applications of what yoga and cannabis are, they're both very effective tools for spiritual growth or the journey towards enlightenment. So there are many studies that state that meditation, smoking weed during meditation is like the bomb.com, okay? And it works very well for us. What we don't realize is that you guys have been taught to meditate, and you guys just didn't even know it. As minorities, we've been taught to pray. You gotta pray. Talk to your God, talk to your higher power, talk to your spirits, talk to your ancestors, wherever you are. That is meditation. In a sense, you are using your mind to stay busy. You're praying because you're using your mind to stay busy. But how often have you just got high and let your thoughts run away with you? How often have you got high and medicated? So we'll say got high, and we're going to say got medicated. And just look at the sky and recognize what is around you. Hearing the sounds of the earth, hearing the sounds of the grass rustle under your body, hearing the wind, taking in that breath and that relaxation. And what people don't understand is that when you smoke and do yoga, it increases your high. And it's not a high up here and not just the body high, it's an emotional high. Because yoga has so much vulnerability with it that the ganja gets you to kind of calm down, relax, and release. And that's the thing. A lot of the benefits with THC, CBD, CBN, and all the different other terpenes that go along with it, they relax our nervous system. So that's why it's so important for us to understand that they're great separate, but they are the bomb together. Next slide, please. People don't expect Ganja and yoga to go together. They're like, how do you even? But it's all about balance, So the benefits of specifically Ganja yoga, like yoga has so many benefits just basically on the Ganja yoga side, putting the weed and the yoga together. It boosts creativity. So you're able to go away with your mind. It increases relaxation. Like I said, it calms your body system. It deepens your meditation practice. Even if you say, well, I don't know how to meditate, just sit there and smoke, put you on a nice music, whatever your favorite song is, and just go away with it and let it take you away. but don't let it distract you to where it hurts you or things come up. Sometimes if a bad thought comes up, a bad memory comes up, you acknowledge it and you have to release it, because that's how we heal. This is that systematic trauma that we've dealt with, and we have held so much stuff in as the Black community. Don't tell what goes on in your house and all that. We hold a lot in. We have to learn and know when to let it go and how to release it in a healthier way, and not just anger and frustration and lashing out, because that's all we were taught and that's all we've ever seen. Next slide, please. So I hope you guys see why Ganja yoga is for the culture. We are the culture. We are the culture that they got it from. We are the culture who is, we all always seem to be the ones that are behind the scenes. We built the country, but we're behind the scenes. You know, we do these great things and we are left out of a lot of things because of the stigma or because of racial systematic injustice. And it's important for us to know that these things have been around for thousands of years. Many different health benefits, many different ailments that we use these for. Like I said, we used to chew it. I would have never thought that. I couldn't see myself like chewing on a leaf. But now I'm like, can I put that in my salad? You know, eating it, consuming that whole plant. When the pandemic first started, I am a mineral user. I like alkaline minerals. I started using straight leaf just to make tea, and I wasn't decarbonating or anything. I was literally making tea from the whole plant, using the leaves, using the stems, and every morning I drank that when I took my sea moss, and it helped keep my immune system up. It helped keep me healthy, and that's what's important. We have to stop letting people sell our culture back to us. Now we have these man-made drugs and these antidepressants that give you nausea, that make you sick. Yes, if you need medicine and you need pharmaceutical medication, by all means, do you, boo-boo, and take what you need. But also understand that there are plants out here that give us the same benefits with the least amount of side effects, because you can take some of this stuff and not wake up. You can take some of this stuff and have suicidal thoughts. My daughter loves to read the side effects of, you know, in the commercials, they have all these different side effects, and they're like, the side effects are worse than what I'm actually here for, you know, what the medicine is for. So now figuring out, once again, what goes for your body. Yoga positions to help you heal headache, child's pose. That is your best friend. Placing your third eye on the ground and just breathe. See, these connections of the third eye and your heart chakras, aligning your chakras, go straight into a child's pose. That is the best move to make. And just understand, when you go into your child's pose, take your hands and just put them behind your back. Stretching out your shoulders, coming into a reach, kind of stretching left and right, just feeling into that stretch, because now you're releasing what's behind your ears. So that's very important, is to just move your neck sometimes. Sometimes you have this not, you know, where this stress here, and we don't realize where it's coming from, but now we have to relax our shoulders. Then we have to slide our shoulder blades down our back. You know, these different tools. I can tell you what works for me, but if they don't work for you, boo-boo, understand that we are not all the same. So try that and see what it does for you. Try hitting your pressure points. You know, try different things and see what works for you and how you feel with that. Next slide, please. Yes, the chakra cleanses are really great, and it's important for us to align our chakras, but to also know that that is our connection. You know, the chakras, for those of you who don't know, are 7 chakras that are aligned at your crown, your third eye, your throat, your solar plexus, your grounding, your heart, like all in alignment. And that's when people discuss talking about this alignment. Aligning yourself in as black, brown, king, and queens. Your crown should always be pointed to the sky, when it's your ancestors pointing to the heavens. Understand that we are aligning ourselves with what is great for us and where we came from. I feel that the pandemic has given us more of that back. And we have spent so many time, I remember I went into so many yoga classes and I didn't feel safe and I didn't feel welcome. And in my training, I was the only minority. The only minority. And when I asked about comedic yoga, when I asked about, the history, it was like they were like, I don't know too much about that. And I'm like, I don't know. You're my teacher. I want to know. And they were like, I don't know what to tell you. So I had to get books and start learning on my own. And that's the thing that I feel we have gotten mentally lazy. Google that weed strand. Google those palm leaves. Put those backwoods down. Google these rose petals. Rose petals are great for antidepressant. And they impress the ladies, y'all. Come on now. It's important for us as a people to know what is good for us and how to get into these different aspects and knowing what is for us. So they can't push us out of these spaces anymore. We are the culture. We are Ganja yoga. We are yoga and we are Ganja. Period. I really hope you guys enjoy the presentation, and I am all open for questions and dialogue, y'all.
All right. Phenomenal information. Apologize to the community. I know there was some breakup with the Wi-Fi. Like I said, there is a heat wave in the Bay Area, or Wi-Fi is being infected. A lot of things is happening. So I know a lot of the presentation may have came in a little choppy. But now's the time if you have questions. If you want to go to our YouTube live and enter some of the questions that you guys have, we can get them up and have Cameo answer them. I'm going to start off and just say what a great presentation. Very informative. A lot of the information I'm glad you talked about is part of our culture, because I've always wanted to figure out more about this yoga thing. And when it comes to man and yoga, it's the whole, that's for girls. And I think you kind of broke the ice on that, that it's for the people. And, but what are some of the benefits from the yoga that you could really speak on by doing it? What kind of impact can a person get doing yoga?
So first, as Black and brown people are angry. We have a lot of anger. We have a lot of pent up anger. We have a lot of things that we hold in. So our anger, anxiety, depression specifically, I can speak from those. It comes to things asking about the sage. I also it's what is for you. You know what I'm saying? It's the benefits that you don't even know. See, I thought yoga was oh yeah, it's not for us, And then when I got into it and I started doing it and I started using it as a tool, not just as exercise, but as a tool to deal with panic attacks. I started having panic attacks when the pandemic hit. I didn't know what the hell was going on with me, y'all. I thought I was gonna die. I was like, what is going on? And I figured out to make certain moves during the pandemic or during this panic attack, and how can I get over this, and teaching me about my breathing. So just breathing, relaxing, and it calms your nervous system, which makes you less angry, which relaxes you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And that goes into the meditation and the prayer. But my thoughts on sage, I am so big on sage, specifically white sage. I don't know if you guys know this, but white sage is 94% antibacterial. So when you can't find, the spray, the disinfectant spray, everybody flew off the shelves magically, I was out buying sage. That's exactly what I was doing. And I use the big ones and I take them apart, and I just use a couple, flakes, because it still has to be harvested. And we're still talking about our ecosystem and being plant-based and being, friendly to the earth. So just used a couple sticks and went all around my house when people come in and out. So it's not just the energy we're clearing, we're also cleaning the air. I sage my car. I'll be in the car Planto stick too. I don't play. And that's balancing that energy, but it's cleaning the space. And that's something that the Indians used to use. They took that away from them too. It's that stigma that if it's not controlled by other people or the colony, then it's not right. It's voodoo. It's evil. And we was doing this before. Yoruba, they have Yoruba yoga. We've been doing this. And I'm seen some of the Yoruba yoga, and I'm like, oh, my neck hurt, y'all. Like, but that goes back to the colonies who use this and who have already had this.
Phenomenal. I mean, I'm glad you talked about the stigma with sage, because a lot of times, people do try to put that with witchcraft and devilish stuff and different things of that nature. So I'm glad you kind of cleared that up, because a lot of people, they burn incense or different things of that nature. And, you don't get the same stigma, but something about when it comes to sage, it's always an issue. But me, I struggle. You got to do a class on how to burn it, because I've bought some, and I don't know if it got dry, but it never burns all the way. But just having that information.
Well, maybe that means your spirit is good. Maybe your spirit is already cleansed. Like, you just had to make sure you didn't bring nothing else with you. It's funny that, we say that, but my family's from Louisiana. So I come from that. But understand that I didn't learn about that until I actually started doing my research myself, because it was taken away. All this stuff is taken away from us and it's sold back to us. So now they selling sage by the bundles. Here, take this. Here, take this. But they're not like, wait a minute, why weren't we using this before? Because you can smoke sage too. I don't know if you know that, but you can smoke sage. I actually honestly promote. I talk about smoking the rose petals and the rose petal cones and lavender. Lavender is my go-to. Okay, I sprinkle lavender in there. It's calming. It's soothing. When people who don't like the smell of weed, but you're somewhere and you smoke, couple lavender flakes in there, you don't smell it, and it is an herb, so it offers a benefit. That's the thing. We gotta go back to learning about our herbs and our plants, and our chamomile and what we came from. Yes, see, the rose petals, you can smoke rose petals, you can smoke lavender. Make sure they're organic. On my website, LadyNamStizzle.com, there is some rose petal cones from Cali Green Gold. They're all natural. They're organic. They're just rose petals and water. They also carry palm leaves. Palm leaves are amazing for smoke. They offer benefits as well. Google anything that you might want to smoke. Mullein. Mullein is good for our lungs. The Indians used to use it and they burn it. Pretty much, in all honesty, I'll say 90% of what you use in a tea, you can smoke. And those are the same herbs that ladies, excuse your ears, John, but the ladies use the yoni steams. It's the same thing. All these herbs are everything you can use, because we're using them over, but now we're relearning about these things. Stuff we didn't know before,
It's funny how history repeats itself. I mean, I wish I had some of your yoga technique today, because when the police officer came to my car holding his gun, first thing I was thinking was, how is this situation gonna go if I react the way I want to act? I'm all in black. I got my Black Panther shirt on today. He looking at me, sizing me up. But I just had to have a wasabi moment. I just, I didn't want to take that bad energy, but I could have used some of those yoga techniques. I could have been sitting here lifting my arms and stretching and doing different things.
Well, honestly, during a stressful time, just breathe. Just breathe. Like, inhale for 4, hold it for 4, and exhale for 4. That's calming your nervous system. Even if that's all you got. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It sounds stupid, but in those cases, it calms your system, which allows your shoulders to drop, which allows your nerves to calm, and now your blood isn't boiling, and it helps keep you cool. And people don't realize that these little things, even when smoking, if you pissed off, you have anxiety, and you like, I'm sick of this, or I don't want to deal with this, and smoke, and just breathe. Inhale for 4, exhale for 4, hold it for 4. Even if all you got is 3, if all you got in your breath today is 3, then go with 3. But using just a simple breath, yes, using just a simple breath is the breath of life. Like she said, it is amazing. So we fuss about how we can't breathe. We have to stop saying that, because our mind and our bodies feed what we say and how we feel. So instead of saying that, we need to say something like, we need our breath. We deserve our breath. Because we're speaking these things into existence. And that's important. That manifesting, we keep manifesting not being able to breathe. But we got to stop that. We're manifesting the breath of life. We are manifesting a cool, crisp, clean air flowing in and out of our lungs, filling up the belly and releasing it back.
Wow, phenomenal. So, quick question, because I am a man, the yoga classes that you offer, are they co-ed? Are they just for women only? How could, if there's a brother in the community, because here I'm all about advocating for mental health, and I like your slide that kind of broke down the different effects that people can use to for cannabis. I saw sleep, anxiety. I know a lot of people are coming out of this pandemic. They have anxiety. They can't sleep at night. I mean, especially with the temperatures being 100 degrees around the Bay Area. Maybe this is an alternative to somebody. I'm in agreement with you. I think some of these prescribed prescription drugs is a problem for the community. And I'm glad you said that, because I just think that right now with the pharmaceutical companies, there are so many doctors just pushing drugs and not really doing natural holistic things or Eastern medicine. It just seems like the doctors now is just anytime you call is just giving you a prescription. I'm here in San Francisco, we have a huge problem with drug use, fentanyl. People are actually dying from taking this drug, fentanyl, and things of that nature. So, I mean, I've never heard anybody die from weed. I could be wrong. Have you ever heard anybody die from taking weed from weed and yoga? Because I think that.
I think Cat Williams said it best. Hungry, happy, sleep. That's it. If you take too high an edible, you fall asleep, but you wake up. And at any point in that time, yes, plant medicine at any point in time, if you are ever too high, okay, you take CBD. If you do not have CBD, chew on some peppercorns. Peppercorns help release different we call them locks in our system, and it's just like using the peppercorn. It's just like using some CBD. It will bring you down. Now, for those of you people who like to increase, on my website, they're also said that people do have a bad reaction, but also what strain were they smoking? What was the terpenes on that? What is the THC content? Was it homegrown? Was it outdoors? Was it specifically allergic reaction? See, that's the thing. When people, he didn't die, thank God, because I haven't heard anybody dying from weed, but that goes back into knowing what you're putting in your body. That's why, so back in the day, we didn't have cannabis clubs. We didn't have all that in the 90s and stuff. So the people who grew up smoking, we didn't know why we were smoking. We didn't know this because we weren't educated. So it's our job now that we have all this education at our fingertips to do the research. Even if it's just Googling your favorite strain. What's this got in it? Okay, because I asked. And if they don't know, I'm getting on Google and I'm reading these packages, because that's the thing with us. You will take, let's say this, y'all don't go to air, and I know nobody go and just eat different people potato salad. You're not going to eat somebody's potato salad you don't know. So you don't smoke somebody's weed you don't know. You don't, it's the same analogy, because you talk about, oh, that potato salad was nasty, but you'll go and pick up their blunt or their joint or their pipe. It's the same thing. You have to know what you're putting in your body. You have to know the content of it. Your body's a temple, and you must treat it as such. And I tell different people in my yoga classes, like, people lift their arms up and then they're like, I'm like, is that how you want your lover to treat you? That's true, because you want your lover to hold you, you want your lover to put your hand down, but you have to remember to love yourself first before you can get anybody else to love you the way you want to be loved. So yes, there's so many different aspects. But to answer your question, yes, my yoga classes are co-ed all the way. The only class that is not co-ed is a class I have with the Queen Hippie Gypsy in Oakland. It is called Club 333. It is a Can Moms club where we offer a space for women just to kind of not be moms, not be wives, not be girlfriends, not be mamas, not be nothing to nobody but to themselves. Just a self-care space for us, and that's very important. We do that once a month, and that's in Oakland. So that the information is also on my website, and it can link you to the information for the tickets and everything like that. For Juneteenth, since Juneteenth is so popping. I will be at Oakland High Times, which is a Black-owned dispensary, y'all. Just a little FYI. But I will be doing demos there, giving us some information, dropping some history gems, giving some information on my different slides. We're going to do a little mini meditation. We'll talk about some mantras. Mantras are the hand seals and different movements with the hands, which create the circle of the seal, closing up the movement. And these are great for just simple, like I said, meditation. You try to meditate. This is sativa mudra. So you hold your stuff like that. Yes, it simple little things that we can do as people and use these medicines as plants and respect them as a plant. Like I say, using the leaves, you're smoking the buds, you're straining the buds, you're making butter, you're making tea, we're eating this, we're consuming this, we're topical. I use, there's a recipe on my website as well for coconut oil and to make like infused coconut oil. And I use that for oil pulling. And if you don't know what oil pulling is, it's the swishing around the oil in your mouth and the coconut oil. I use that for oil pulling. I use it for my chapped lips. I'm not gonna lie, the weed that I did it with was real skunky, so I smell a little skunky, but my soul smells like sage, like during weed. So, people who know me are used to the smell, but it's not like I stink. But you can use that in your bath. You can use that anywhere. They have lubes now, ladies and gentlemen, CBD and THC lubes. As that, because you can, it might be a little TMI, but this is also some health stuff too. Mixing the coconut oil with the cannabis, you can make a lube. So we are getting more creative and knowing other aspects of it and what weed does. So when you're using weed and yoga, it lubricates our joints. CBD helps lubricate our joints. It helps with high blood pressure. It helps with epilepsy. Like, I could go on and on and on. Like, I'm telling you, me and CBD have a straight love affair. Every day, daily, when my CMOS, I take my CBD because it's important for me as a sufferer of depression and anxiety and panic attacks that came from the pandemic to know that, okay, I can use this plant medicine, still be functional with my family. I can use this, and I used to draw blueprints before this. So I have an engineering degree. I draw blueprints. I specialize in interior design, like actual draw and mechanical and industrial engineering. And it was so, that's how I even got put here, because I was doing something that I love so much. It stressed me out and made me sick, which made me to teach myself about more plant medicine. And this is before the pandemic. So Dr. Chill, who is Janae Aiko's father, I went to see him. He was my first cannabis doctor. And he, I told him my illness, and he was like, indica only. And I was like, who is he to tell me? Like, mind you, he's a doctor. Who is he to tell me what strain I should use or what is good for me? I went home because, like I said, I'm not just going to take what potato salad you give me. I'm going to do my own switch on my potato salad. So I started doing more research. What are the benefits of indica? How does this affect my body? How does this affect my mental health? Some people are just sativas. Some people are hybrids. But you have to learn about yourself. Just like what hair grease work for you best. Just like what lotion does it for you. You have to know what weed strain. You have to know what cannabinoids do it for you. What makes you sick. What makes you feel great. And even what to infuse. Lavender, chamomile, or whichever it may be at that time. It's important for us to do these things because we're mentally lazy now. We're like, oh, they said I could do it, so I'm gonna do it. Like, do your research so that that goes to that microdosing. Know how much you can intake, because we all have to know our limit. With alcohol, you don't know your limit, or you do, and you get past it and bad things happen. With weed, you make it above your limit, you just gonna go sleep. Like, it's just simple as that. So keeping something like CBD or peppercorns stuff, that's great. Mango. We don't realize that these fruits and these vegetables actually intertwine with the benefits of cannabis. And then now we're bringing this holistic lifestyle of yoga, because they're very, yoga is about clean, movements. It's about, healthy lifestyle and grounding yourself with the earth and then we're dealing with these plants. So mango, if you eat mango before you smoke, it increases your high. A lot of people don't know that. We eat these fruits all the time. So if you've ever had that reaction, if you eat some mango fruit before, you might get higher. Those are the benefits. Not necessarily the benefits, but the terpenes from the mango help to, overpower these and make them stronger. So it's amazing how these plants now, like I said, these watermelons we're using pipes from, making this cool. Like I remember using a soapy bong at one point, like with water and ice, So I encourage this in all of my classes, no matter what way you consume or you intake, you do it safely, you do it healthily. And I mean using the hemp papers and palm leaves and the roses and all that. And just knowing where your limit is. Yes, peppercorns are amazing. Mangoes are amazing. So, where did these things come from? These things came from our people. These things, fruits and these vegetables originally came from us. You see that connection, how we go back to everything. We're connecting it back,
Well, now I know why every time I go into the store looking for mangoes, there's none on the shelf. I didn't know that. So I learned something tonight.
Absolutely.
So I won't be yelling and fussing like, where's the mangoes at? I know why. But I'm glad you brought that up. Good. Good stuff to break that down. I think the education part is big. With epilepsy, working in the hospital, and seeing some of the effects that some of the CBDs and different things are helping people with cancer and different things like that. I know a lot of people who have HIV use cannabis as well to eat and different things, stomach cancers and stuff like that. So I think the education part, like you said, is very, very important. I know the negative stigma of cannabis has really impacted the community. People always want to use it as the gateway drug to other drugs and things of that nature. And I just really believe that, if you're going to do drugs, you're going to do it. If some people are just into that, I want to try something new and different things of that nature. But I'm glad you gave that perspective of what your classes look like, because I can see some people out there saying, oh, they think they're going to walk into a room full of smoke and people are stretching and things of that nature. So definitely that's not what it is. But I think, it's very important. Like you said, the education. I did some tours as a lot of the states was legalizing a lot of dispensaries. I did just walk through and just kind of see. And I think it is kind of cool, like you said, but back in the days when people were just getting stuff off the street, you didn't know what it was. But when you do go to those dispensaries, there's a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, and they really educate you on what you're getting. I mean, I learned some stuff just knowing that you was coming on tonight. I was going to ask you about it. They was talking about some of the CBDs and different things for like women products when they dealing with menstrual pains and different things. Like they got all these different things for different problems in your body. And again, I'm one of those people, whatever it takes to make it. And you need mental health is real. And if you need CBD and a prayer, take that. If you need, whatever it is, a smoke,
a little THC and meditation,
whatever it is to get our people back in order, because I know, some of these psychiatric drugs is not the best thing for the people. And then some people, they do need it. It's some people who really do have that clinical issue where that's the only way they get the balance. But I mean, hey, if you could try something new, you want to educate yourself and try something new that may have a great impact on you. I've talked to people, and like you said, certain people have different reactions. Some people use it for their sleep, anxiety, depression. I know it's big. So whatever it takes, get the help, have the conversations, do the yoga. I'm definitely going to try to get out there in one of the classes because I definitely want to support what you're doing. But I want to learn some of the moves because I hear about the blood flow and the things, and people are always telling me, John, you need to do it. I'm always running around, so I'm tired. I need to get that blood flowing. And, my stress levels is always high. So I got to make sure I get into your yoga class and do some stretching and things of that nature. I'm definitely going to incorporate it because a lot of times I didn't want to get in. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to get it. The thing with specifically with Black men and brown men, I feel that it is very important for us to make these spaces safe for you. I feel that it is very important, not just for us, but for you as a Black man, because in my classes, specifically in my outdoor classes, I always ask us to close our eyes. But I also am from Oakland, so I make sure that I let y'all know you can close your eyes. I'll watch your back for you, because as a Black man, you feel like you have to watch your back all the time, and you have to, yoga. It makes you very vulnerable, because you're opening up in these spaces, and you cry. Like sometimes I be crying and don't even know what I'm crying for. I'd be like, what? Our hips, we carry trauma in our body. We have these spaces. So if you ever sat in the car for too long, you get out and you can't get to that spot. You got to move your neck. You got to adjust your body. We're looking at these screens, so we're hunched over. And as a Black man, I feel like you guys get the short end of the stick. And two, for the women, we need it because we are so busy trying to protect you and trying to make you guys feel inclusive, make you guys feel safe. So it's important that Black men know we've been doing this. Our pharaohs, we always talk about how we kings, and men want to be called the king. He want to be the kings of the kingdom. That's what real kings did back in the day. Those are the original kings. They're sitting in chair pose on the walls in ancient Egypt. They are sitting on the Kemetic walls. They are on the columns. We are kings and queens. We are pharaohs. We've been doing this. And what we have to understand is, like, once you start doing it, even making subtle movements, your body starts to recognize them. And you're like, oh, snap. Like, maybe I did this before. Or, oh, I didn't know I could get in that space or that place. And men see these, like, gymnastics poses, and they're like, oh, hell no. Y'all be like, But also understand that is where we come into the colonizing, because yoga was originally straight about meditation. It was straight meditation. But then when India got taken over, they brought in the more gymnastics of it. So that's where we get kind of the gymnastics. Kemetic yoga, just to kind of give you guys a little differential, Kemetic yoga is very calm. It is very slow. It's kind of like a yin, and yin classes are like very slow, long hold of poses. So the movements are subtle, but then you start looking at the statues from ancient, from Kemetic, we'll say Kemetic in Egypt. You start looking at the statues and you start to flash now. Now you seeing stuff. You're like, wait a minute. It's not just Sphinx pose, it's chair pose. Our Black men have been doing this for centuries, and this is where we come from. So it is time for us to reprogram our bodies. And as men, that's how you form yourself into being a king, because that's that king mentality. You're able to sit and be okay with you getting a ticket today because they pissed you off, but you didn't flash out because you knew that could have been your last flash out, even though you might have been having a messed up day, but you knew that your life could have been taken away in something so simple. But as a king, and as knowing that you've been doing yoga, and if this is who you are, and this is your system, this is your body, you took it in stride. And that's what the biggest thing for our men and us as women, to help function this for our men. So when I do teach classes specifically, I always try to give men discounts. I always try to, throw like the class is free for Black men. And like, it just wasn't interesting to them because they weren't sure where they belong. They were looking for Barbecue Becky, and they got Cameo from Oakland. And that's the difference, is knowing that space in that place. I'm going to be the forefront. I want you to see me so that you don't get used to thinking that only John does yoga. And I don't mean John, Jon. I mean John, or Steve. That's not it. It's our people. But we have to bring our kings and our pharaohs back, and having that gracefulness, because you can meditate to have a clear conscience. So when you're dealing with the police, when you're dealing with your wife, when you're dealing with them kids that's getting on your nerves, having that consciousness makes you be able to make clear decisions. And that's another thing that I feel is important for us as Black men, because once you react, the Black men, you're angry. Women, Black angry women. Where, Hispanics, they're loud, they're angry. It's that stereotype. So we have to remember that our consciousness is ascension, and that we're doing this and aligning our crown with the heavens and with our ancestors. And we're downloading the information. We're downloading that calm. We're downloading that energy. And we're also releasing that anger as well. So as we release that anger and we breathe, we download what comes from our ancestors. You know, that's really big, and that's really important for us to have.
Man, that's very powerful. I mean, I'm just happy to have you here talking to me. It's just helping me because I wanted to try the yoga thing. Everybody's telling me, and it's hard. You a guy, you go to these yoga classes, it's all women in there. You don't want to be in there, and everybody like, who's this guy? You don't want to be the, you know what I mean, the only guy. But just hearing you break it down, definitely I'm gonna break my yoga virginity at your class, so I feel safe and I have to worry about all that other
Hey,
stuff. I'm a definitely.
so you know what?
Go ahead.
That definitely to me is important because I wanted to drop this on you real quick. So I actually have in the past taught yoga at the Oakland Power Center, the Oakland Police Athletic League, because they have a midnight basketball program, and yoga is great for basketball. It's great for the stretching, and they were like, what yoga, like, you know, but having men and women in that class, the men felt vulnerable. The women were like, oh my God, they're looking at my butt. Oh my God, you know, I don't want to be down in front of them. So I feel it on both aspects, but you have to understand that getting into that consciousness again, you're not worried about her. He ain't worried about you. So all you have to worry about and focus on is your body. So going back to that meditation and that consciousness ascension. They told me to do yoga 2-3 years before I even tried it. I was like, I ain't doing that because, like I said, I didn't see me in that yoga class. I didn't see that representation. And then when I did the first yoga class, one of the first yoga classes I went to, there was only me, and the lady like got up and moved her mat from me. And you know, I was kind of offended, but also I'm not gonna lie, I reeked. I smelled like weed, you know. But that was the only way I could get in there to calm myself because I was already nervous to go in there, and I'm the only minority, so let me go ease my mind so I can go in here. But I kind of chuckled it off, and from that moment, that's what gave me the momentum to be like, I don't want nobody else to go through this, and I don't want nobody else to feel that uncomfortableness. But I want us to know about this, and I want us to know that this is available to us, for us, by us. And it's important. Sometimes you just have to be the advocate. You just have to be that face that people see and recognize that, like, oh, that's the Gaja yoga girl, or that's Lady Namastizzle. You know, it's okay. You don't know my first name. I'm getting used to being called Lady Namastizzle now, you know. But asking me those simple questions, like, hey, I have people come up to me now, like, papers, like, I loved your papers. I'm like, yep, I got in my car. Give me a second. Let me check out at the grocery store, at the store. Like, yep, I got you. I'll give you some papers. So, you know, those type of things I always try to keep. And like I said, lavender, just for people to try and to see what it feels like. It's not going to do anything for you as far as like making you high, but it's the smell. It's that conscious connection to that plant in multiple aspects.
Wow, phenomenal community. If that's for you, if you want to do some Ganja and yoga, reach out to the sister Ben. We got the information run on the screen. I know for some people it might not be fun, but if this is for you, reach out to her. Go take a class and learn. I'm just going to come out and come do the yoga and stretch and learn some stuff. It'll be my first time because, like I said, I've been to some of them. I've seen the heated yoga, and I'm like, oh, I want to try this. But, you know, just that uncomfortableness of being the only man and, you know, you just don't want that whole, why is this one guy in here, or, you know, things of that nature. So I'm going to definitely come out to one of your events and do some yoga. So what materials for somebody who maybe never done yoga, or maybe this is the first time they see this information, what are the materials that a person need to come to your yoga class? Is it just a mat? What is it? I mean, what does it look like coming to a Ganja yoga event with you, the yogiology class?
the yogi class. So I have many different classes. Like, I specialize in theming my classes because at heart I'm an artist, and I'm an artist first, you know. So just to typically be in a class, a yoga mat. If you don't have a yoga mat, use a beach towel. Now we got creative and resourceful now since COVID, because now we have to go in the house. So now we have to figure out different things to use, you know. So yoga mat, couple towels, couple blankets, whatever you have accessible to you. So just for a regular hatha yoga class, which is, you know, the movements that I teach, a simple mat, a simple towel. Sometimes props are available, but if you don't have the money, don't spend the money. I work with you and what you have, because sometimes you just don't have the money, and we all get that. We are all struggling in this pandemic. So even if you don't, like I said, if you got a yoga mat, grab a couple towels too. You can put a towel behind your neck. You can put a towel behind your sacrum. So it's not like it's not feasible if you don't have it. That's the biggest thing for me, is making it accessible for us. And then if you don't have that, you get a blanket. We all go out to these picnics and, you know, things like that. Use what you would use for a picnic, because that's all you need is something for your body. But just make sure that it's something you wouldn't mind putting your head on, and just take your shoes off. That way you're not tracking, you know, back and forth, and making it kind of its own sacred space. And that's the biggest thing, is making it its own separate space. So I have my last supermoon trilogy coming up, because we have a supermoon on the 24th, another one. We've had 3. This will be our 3rd one back to back. So I will be setting up at the lake again, at Oakland Lake Merritt, a different location this time. But we're just gonna, you know, smoke and do yoga, charge our crystals, kind of reset and recharge under the moon. The energy, you know, I make moon water when I go, just some simple water and stones. It's more of my spirituality and how I connect the earth and, you know, to my yoga practice. I use crystals, some are in them. You know, I put the crystals in my weed jars to charge up my weed and to use that energy to help intentional smoke. Because sometimes I'm just targeting the back pain that I have, or I'm targeting the headache that somebody asked me about. I'm targeting that. I'm going to go get lavender and roll that up. I just got my weed out of the jar that has some amethyst in there, or some citrine, or some rose quartz, and I'm just smoking intentionally at this point, because I know what I'm using it for, and I'm targeting those areas. And that's the key with intentional smoke. So it's not just about getting high. A supermoon is something that it shows when the moon is closest to the earth. So that's why the moon looks so big and so pink, and that's why we get like different glows and things like that with the moon. The last one was on May 24th. Everybody was talking about moon energy, and we had that lunar eclipse all at the same time. Like, that was all the same day. So when you got into the energy balance and everybody was acting funky, then some people was happy. That's what that supermoon energy is about. And this is something that, once again, this is how they kept records of days and times and stuff like that. We're going back to our ancestors. We're learning more about this. And this goes back to how they grow weed. We have weed that's grown in the moon. We have weed that's grown outside. We have weed that's grown in the sun. We have weed that's grown in greenhouses. Doing our research on what our cannabis is giving us is the whole main point. And other aspects, because we've been using crystals back in the day. Okay, we were using those. Those are in the, you know, on the mummies, you know, on their temples, on their. We've been using these things. Now we're just starting to get back into them. So, just a little gem for you guys too back in Egypt. So, you know, if you go to the tip of the pyramids, there's a quartz down at the bottom. And you know that's why they put the eye on there, because quartz is our eye is the only part of our body that has quartz in it. So see the connections that we be like, what? Wait a minute, and that's why this, and that's why that. We start to pay. That's that consciousness ascension, sitting in yoga, sitting in meditation, smoking. You know, there's a reason that you're smoking. You start getting inquisitive. You be like, well, what if I put this with that? Or when you cook, you get to, when you're smoking, you're cooking, because now they're bringing that into the aspect. What those benefits do for us. Now we're bringing in yoga, so now we're calming our body. We're getting into our nervous system. Now we're like once we finish yoga, between mushies and just the movement of itself, now our body is hungry. Now we want food. We want superfoods, because I believe that weed is a superfood. I don't care what nobody said. Weed is a superfood, because we can do so much with it that it's one of those things that you can use the whole element. You know, when you deal with pharmaceuticals, like some stuff, you can't use all these chemicals and they all work together. They're going to counteract with each other. We're going to have chemical reactions. But when you're dealing with marijuana, you can smoke the 100% hemp wrap, you put weed in there, and then you put some CBD on top of it if that's what you want to do. Whole plant medicine. And it covers you in many different forms and aspects, you know?
Wow, phenomenal information. Learning stuff tonight. Learning stuff I didn't know about the super moons. I hear the news talking about the eclipse and different things, but great information. Definitely, we got to connect with you so that we can help when you have these yoga events on Instagram. You can give me the flyers and the information that you're going to be at so that we can get it out to the community. Because there are some people who want to be a part of that yoga experience. I'm going to come out and do a yoga class to just one, support the business, and two, to break myself into this yoga thing because, I deal with back issues and different things. And everybody keeps saying, try to use the yoga to get the blood flowing and things of that nature. So, yeah, I'll definitely come to your yoga class and tap in and break my fears of being around all these people, and I know I'll be around somebody who will look out for me, make sure I'm good. So definitely, I'll be
Yes,
coming to
absolutely.
connect with. I'll be coming to connect with you. And then for everybody out there, our website information is there. Her IG is there. Tap into this sister and make sure you guys ask me questions. I mean, some people might not want to ask questions on here. There's her information running across the screen. You could definitely reach out to her and ask whatever questions or any concerns or anything that you all would like to ask. Reach out to the sister and get the information. With that being said, is there anything else you want to talk to or about the community or whatever before we go out? Any special events or before we close this segment out?
Well, like I said, I'll be at High Times on Juneteenth. They're having a weekend Juneteenth event, so I'll be doing demos there. I have a Super Moon event coming up on the 24th. It'll be at Lake Mary, so we'll not sizzle under the full moon. And then on the 27th, we have the Canna Moms Club at the Queen Hip in Oakland. So make sure you check out my website or my IG for the link to that. But I wanted to say, John, I'm very glad that you brought up the issue about men having that stigma with yoga, because that is something that is important for us. But men don't want to tell you that they don't feel right going in there, or they don't want to, because that's opening up, because that's showing that vulnerability. So I want to commend you for that, and thank you for that, so that the men who do have those questions just won't be like, I'm not the only one that feels like that. So no, I'm not going to ask you to drop down, give me splits and all of that. I respect the area, but I will get you to stretch in those areas, and you'll be like, wait a minute, I didn't know I had this pop here. So it's important for men. It is important for you to be in yoga too. It's all inclusive, even if it's just a mini meditation, even if you're just walking into a meditation, that stretch. There are a lot more Black men in it now, so it's important for us to be the change that we want to see. So I commend you for it. Like, I'm going to try it. I'm going to be the change that I want to see. That's all it takes is one time.
No, definitely. I have to do
So yes,
it. And I know a lot of guys deal with it. Anytime that there's one man or two men in a group of women, it's always, for men, we always run through that. Oh, what's the perception? What are they going to think? Like, we're really just here to learn. But then, the times we live in, it's so hard to just be who you are and do what you do because, so many different people and the things that they have in their mind. But I'm definitely coming. I want to try it out. I've been trying to do tap into this meditation thing. And sometimes I'm able to get to that place. And people be saying, if you get there, it's like I'm on the verge of being asleep and not really getting into oneself. So I got to get there. I've been trying some of the meditation stuff and breathing to help calm down. But definitely, I'll be out there trying this out. I got to try something new. And definitely yoga is something that I've been wanting to do. So I'm definitely going to bring out the mat and roll up and catch you at one of the events. Please get us the digital flyers and the information so that we have it, because I want to make sure that we get it out to the community. One of the biggest complaints from our community is people like, we don't know about what's going on. So we're trying to do our part here at both sides of the conversation to make sure that our community is connected with information and our digital flyers, making sure that we get it out to people so that we have a way to connect. But I think it's something phenomenal that you're doing. And I'm glad that you are doing it for the people who are pro cannabis and they can have a space where they can go and get this meditation and treatment. I think it's needed. Again, mental health and this mental wellness that we're talking about, it comes in many facets and many functions in many ways. And this is just another way. And I'm always telling people, whatever it takes for you to get to that place when it comes to mental health, please do it. And again, if it's a prayer in the field, a prayer in cannabis, whatever it is, if it's yoga and cannabis, maybe that's your healing. Please tap into it and do it, because I think that's just something that our community has to embrace when we're talking about mental health. So thank you
Absolutely.
again for coming tonight, giving up your time. So gracious, to just meet you at the Mother's Day event. That's just what it's about. Networking, getting the community, and hear both sides of the conversation. Our job is to help uplift, promote our Black and brown businesses, make sure that they're supported, and we're going to do our part to support you and any businesses that we come across. And you're part of the Both Sides of the Conversation family. If you ever want to come on here and do anything, uplift something, or promote one of your events, you're always welcome to come on and do that. So just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you so much, you guys. I really appreciate it. And, we just got to get back to our ancestors. We got to get back to our roots. Now, I'm not the one selling it back to you. I'm gaming you about it, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. That's right. That's what it's all about. That's what we do here. That's why we have this
Yes,
educational
make sure you guys
Thursday.
follow me for more information.
Okay, definitely
I'm
follow
sorry,
her on
like
IG. Yeah, it's kind of choppy.
bad.
Yeah, that's all right. It is kind of choppy, but your website is up there. That's how you can connect with her. Her IG is running across the stream. If you're on Instagram, reach out to her and connect with her. But again, this is what this Educational Thursday is about, because we have so many stigmas, so many taboo, so many misconceptions about things. And what this Educational Thursday is really about is intentionally educating our people with information that sometimes they might not necessarily get and understand, and creating that safe place to have these type of conversations and to listen. And some people may not want to say anything because we're live. Some people might reach out to you later, and that's fine. I mean, the point is getting the information out to the community so people are aware and have the knowledge to go and seek and get the resources for whatever they need. Because again, like you said earlier, our people are in bad shape. The mental health crisis in our community is just terrible. The homelessness, the drugs, it's a lot. So again, whatever it takes to get people back to a state where they can function and get back whole and moving, I'm all for it because we need it. So thank you again for coming on tonight. Very powerful, very informative information. Again, to the community, apologize. I know parts of this have been really choppy. That's just the struggle that we're dealing with here in America, and hopefully some of the infrastructure, including our digital age, gets impacted moving forward in the future, and hope some of the fiber optics and the things that we need to pass this technology and information through gets better, so that we can have better shows and have the information be a little clearer. So we apologize for that. It's just what it is. It's where we live at. We can't do anything about it until things get fixed. And hopefully our young people are out there working on ways to make these hotspots, make it better so that our people can be connected to get this type of information. So powerful stuff. Looking forward to connecting with you soon. Hang in here till after the show. Let me just go ahead and end it out, and I'll make sure you got our information and that we connected. So with that being said, everybody, what a phenomenal show. Glad to have the sister Cameo on tonight to educate community about the Ganja and yoga. Very powerful stuff. We're starting to tap back into our consciousness, as she said, and we're just going to keep learning and educating, inspiring each other to tap into our greatness. This Friday, we will be out at Golden Gate Park. I'm just waiting for further information. We'll get it out to the community as we kick off this weekend of Juneteenth Festival. This Saturday, we will be at the Mega Black Juneteenth function, and we will be in the Fillmore at the Fillmore Juneteenth Festival, as well as we'll be going to Oakland. We'll be going over to Mosswood Park, and we will be out at the lake for a little while on Saturday. This Sunday, we'll just go ahead and do a live segment from the activities from Juneteenth, and we'll be out in the community as well. So looking forward to that. And then this Tuesday, we'll have another segment of our hidden gems where we will continue to highlight our Black and brown businesses like this sister here. We will continue to uplift those businesses and highlight people in the community that are doing phenomenal things to impact our community positively. And we're just going to keep rolling this thing out. And then next Sunday, we're going to have that conversation. I know everybody's been emailing me trying to get on. I think we all the way at capacity. We're going to be talking about reparations. It is going to be a powerful conversation. It's going to be long. I can tell everybody now, get your popcorn and water. It is not going to be 2 hours. I can tell you that just from the phenomenal panelists that we're going to have. It's going to be a real powwow, but it's going to be real information. We're going to have some of our elected officials watching. We're going to have some of our reparation committees watching to get the information from the community to really see what this reparation thing is going to look like. One small victory today. We got a national holiday out of Juneteenth. Now we can go ahead and as they start to acknowledge things, let's go ahead and acknowledge the reparations in this country for the work that we and our ancestors built this country and did. All of the losses over the year. I was reading this thing today, and it was about $3 to $5 trillion of wealth that we lost in Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and just many other things that was going on across this country. So when we have that conversation on the 22nd, I know it's going to be a part 2, but get ready. This reparation conversation is going to be fire. We have some phenomenal guests. We got the sister Asia coming back. So you already know who saw the other show about the violence. She's a powerful sister. And it's going to be a great conversation. And I'm looking forward to having an engagement with the community. So with all of that being said, be safe now. Drive safe. Don't get a ticket like me out there, okay, this weekend. You guys be safe. Take your time. I know there's a lot of partying. And to the fellas out there, I'll say it again, like I said on Tuesday night. I know the temperatures are up. I know it's good weather out there. But while our sisters is out in the community for the Juneteenth function, brothers, please be respectful to the queens out there and have some humility and compassion. I know the sisters going to be out there wearing their dresses. It's going to be nice. But please have respect. We want to make sure that all of these events are in a positive manner and they're very productive. And we want to make sure that we could go through a weekend without any issue. This is a very important weekend. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. We want to make sure that you all are recognized and celebrated because there are a lot of phenomenal dads out there. So hope you all have a blessed weekend. Enjoy your family and your events and be safe out there. And we'll see you all during the weekend out in the community. Love you all. Be safe. Have a good evening, everyone.